This is the Thriving Dentist Show with Gary Takis, where we help you develop your ideal dental practice, one that provides personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Welcome to a new episode of the Thriving Dentist Show. I'm Gary Takis, your podcast co-host. We have a very interesting episode for you today. This one is titled, "There is new data that suggests that the number of people with dental insurance is declining." Well, I'm going to share that data with you and share what I think is positive information within that data. I think you'll appreciate this episode. Hey, before we get to that episode, I have two announcements to make. Coming up a couple weeks after this episode is published, we have our next Thriving Dentist Masterclass. This is on Thursday, July 27th, and the masterclass is titled 6 Steps to Successfully Resign from PPO Plans. In that masterclass, I will literally provide you a roadmap to follow with those 6 steps to successfully resign from PPO plans. It turns out that this masterclass has kind of developed into our signature masterclass. If you're interested in learning how to successfully resign from PPO plans, this is the perfect one for you. Also, if you're just kind of intrigued about the whole concept, you're not quite sure whether it's the right strategy for you, attending that masterclass will help you decide. And if you're just curious about the whole concept, come join us. You get 3 hours of CE, very inexpensive, tuition's less than $100, and you will depart that masterclass with a blueprint to follow, with a roadmap to follow to successfully resign from PPO plans. Whether you choose to resign or not, the information presented in that masterclass will strengthen and enhance your practice. Come join us. You can go to thrivingdentist.com /masterclass to register for that masterclass. Looking forward to seeing you there. Hey, the second announcement I have is we have a new guest contributor, a very bright, young dentist, Dr. Simon Pardones. He's joining us from Spain. And Simon is both an oral surgeon and a periodontist. And he's going to talk to you about the power of 3D video communication with your patients to help them understand your treatment recommendations. Dr. Pardones is very articulate, and he understands the importance of visuals with patients. And I think you're really going to enjoy his discussion about the importance of 3D video communication with your patients. Well, with no further ado, here's Dr. Simon Pardones.
Hello, I'm Simon Pardiñas, oral surgeon and periodontist, and I also run one of the largest dental channels called DentTalk, oriented to patient education. Today I want to talk to you about an exciting development in dentistry that has the potential to transform the way dentists communicate with their patients. We're going to explore the importance of 3D patient education videos in facilitating effective communication between dentists and patients, and how tools like DentTool can revolutionize the way dentists explain treatments and increase treatment acceptance. Before we dive into that, let's take a moment to understand the significance of effective communication in dentistry. Communication lies at the heart of any successful dentist-patient relationship. It enables dentists to understand their patients' concerns, educate them about their oral health, and collaborate on treatment decisions. However, traditional communication methods often fall short in convening complex dental procedures to patients effectively. This is where 3D patient education videos come into play. 3D patient education videos leverage cutting-edge technology to create lifelike representations of dental procedures. These videos offer patients a clear and realistic understanding of their dental conditions and the proposed treatments. Dental treatments can be intricate, and explaining them solely through verbal descriptions or static images can be challenging for patients to grasp fully. 3D patient education videos simplify complex procedures, breaking them down into digestible steps. By visualizing the treatment process, patients can better comprehend the intended outcomes and the potential impact on their oral health. Moreover, informed patients are more likely to trust their dentist and actively participate in treatment decisions. When patients understand the benefits, risks, and expected outcomes, they can make informed choices, leading to increased treatment acceptance. There are some tools such as Dentool that can help us in this regard. Dentool is an innovative tool designed specifically for dentists to improve communications with their patients. It offers a range of features to enhance the explanation of dental treatments and conditions. The app includes over 400 high-definition 3D videos of dental procedures in various specialties. The app allows dentists to capture images from videos, edit them, and show real-time treatment plans to patients. X-rays can be imported for treatment planning, and smile designs can be created using patient photos. Dentool supports the creation of custom templates for explaining treatments and enables dentists to email treatment plans to patients. Dentool provides multilingual support in 14 different languages. Dentists can utilize this tool to present treatment plans, explain procedures, and demonstrate potential outcomes, all in an interactive and visual compelling format. By enhancing patient comprehension, Dentool contributes to a smoother, more productive dentist-patient interaction. The use of 3D patient education videos through tools like Dentool has been shown to significantly increase treatment acceptance rates. Patients who have a clear understanding of their oral health condition and proposed treatments are more likely to proceed with recommended procedures. Dentool enables dentists to instill trust, confidence, and transparency in their patients, leading to a higher treatment acceptance rates. In conclusion, the advent of 3D patient education videos mark a significant advancement in dentist-patient communication. By harnessing the power of visual representation and simplified explanations, dentists can bridge the gap between technical dental information and patient comprehension. By utilizing 3D patient education videos, dentists can foster trust, improve treatment acceptance rates, and ultimately enhance patient outcomes. Let's embrace this remarkable technology and revolutionize dentist-patient communication for a brighter and more informed dental future.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Coaching in Action segment of the Thriving Dentist Show. I want to take a minute to thank Dr. Simone Pardines for that wonderful tip. And we're going to include the relevant links, the video on our show notes. So if anyone wants to watch the video, you can go to the show notes and watch the videos. Today's topic is new data suggests the number of people with dental insurance is declining. New data suggests that the number of people with dental insurance is declining. This is Narain, your co-host. This is a fact. And Gary is going to share the data that shows that the number of people with dental insurance is declining. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you, the dental practice owner, going to do about this information? How do you use this to your advantage? How do you go on the offense? So Gary is going to talk about lots of ideas and lots of specific tips on going on the offense. So Gary, please take it away.
Yeah, let's back up and talk a little bit about the history of dental insurance. Some of you will know that my undergraduate degree is in history. I happen to enjoy all things related to history. And of course, things related to dental history because of my profession. And if we go back into the late 1960s, dental insurance was a novel, innovative idea. And the idea of creating dental insurance was an initiative on the part of dentists to help bring more people to the dental office, to get the public to visit the dental office more. And so, dental insurance dates back to the 1960s, late 1960s. And the whole idea was that by creating dental insurance, it was going to create more likelihood that people would visit the dentist, and then we get all the benefits associated with that. It helped people become more healthy. It helped them keep their natural teeth. It helped them achieve better oral health. And there were very noble purposes with dental insurance. It was a very noble pursuit. in the beginning. It was by dentists for dentists to help the public achieve better oral health. Unfortunately, over time, a lot of things have shifted. And, when I look at the 4 entities that are involved in dental insurance today, there's the dental insurance company that provides the insurance benefits. There's the dentist that provides the care. There's the patient that receives the care. And there's the employer who purchases the policy. When I look at those 4 entities, it's very lopsided. There's only one winner in the analysis of those 4 entities, and that's the dental insurance company. The dentist loses because he or she is forced to pay to take a massive discount on their fees. And that typical discount today is between 45 and 50% of their usual fees. The patient loses because of all the silly regulations and rules that are created by the insurance company. Heaven forbid your patient should show up 5 months and 29 days after the last hygiene visit, because that claim will be stamped denied because there wasn't a 6-month wait. Also, the patient loses because there's many exclusions in all the different insurance policies. And the employer loses. The person the entity that bought the insurance loses because of the massive overpayment that they're required to pay to purchase those premiums. The employer loses as well. The only one that benefits is who, Naren? Who's the only one that benefits in this equation?
The insurance company.
And is it the entire insurance company? Do you think all the employees at the insurance company benefit?
No, probably like the fat cats, the CEO, the C-suite.
The executive suite, it benefits by the massive amount of money that they extract in the form of their compensation package. Everyone else loses. Now, I think it's positive news that the number of people that have dental insurance is actually declining. But because I'm going to contrast that with another fact today, there is also evidence that shows that the public has never been more interested in their health than they are today. Think about that over time. Naren, do you believe that to be a true statement? The public is more interested in their health today than they've ever been in our history.
I think that's true, Gary. I think we live in a time and an age where information is in our fingertips, right? 24 hours a day, just on our phones to any device we have in our pockets or in front of us, we have tons of information. So a lot of people are getting a lot of information about how to be healthy, how to, be proactive versus, wait for the doctor to tell them or give them some medication. So I think the world is totally different today versus the way it was even 2-3 years ago. And I think the trend is only accelerating the amount of interest. And I think COVID was a game changer too. So pre-COVID, I think people didn't really take health that seriously, but now I think majority of the people take their health very seriously.
It was a wake-up call, sadly, for many to be proactive in our health. My evidence of people in this period of time being interested in their health is look at nutritional information on food products, Naren.
Yes.
There was a time where we didn't have nutritional information. It didn't have to be published. And now we have all this information and the public consumes that information.
Right.
They want to know, what the nutritional benefits are of XYZ product. Health club fitness memberships are at all-time highs, because people want to be proactive about their health. So I think it is good news that the number of people with dental insurance is declining, because in fact, the promise of dental insurance really hasn't come true. The promise that having dental insurance would result in more people visiting the dentist and more people, proactively taking care of their health and achieving better oral health. And let me show you evidence of that. We're going to talk about different statistics today. I think it's important to have data. Naren, do you know that of those people that have dental insurance, only 22% of the people that have dental insurance use their annual award to the full award? Only 22%.
That's crazy. Yeah, that means.
Yeah, they don't use it. They don't go to there's many
so you're saying
that don't go.
Half of Americans who are adults don't have dental insurance, and those of that half, only 22% actually use their entire
To the full benefit.
full benefit. So that
Yeah.
means that's 10% of the population. 10%.
10%. If you do the extrapolating math, roughly 50% of the population has dental insurance, but it's declining. It's now declining.
Yes.
And only 22% of those that have insurance are fully utilizing the benefit. The rest of them, they have the dental insurance benefits, they have the benefits, but they don't use them. They get to the end of the year, and of course,
Right.
those benefits don't carry over. They go back to the fat cats at the insurance company. That's how they've designed the plan. Another trend that's affecting this is that companies are not required to provide dental insurance benefits.
Right.
And Niren, in the era that we're in right now, with under inflationary pressure, every company in the US is being affected by inflation. Everything they buy is more expensive. Their costs are going up, especially their payroll costs are radically going up. And in face of increasing global pressure on economics, if they're not required to pay dental insurance benefits, then many companies are choosing not to, because of the fact that it's not really appreciated by their employees. And it's not appreciated by the fact that only 20% of the people, 22% of the people that have it will fully utilize their benefits. So an executive of a large company might look at this and say, my goodness, somewhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 will actually use the benefits to its utmost. Why in the world should we even provide this?
Got it.
And when we look at it that way, it really is a poor return on that investment, a very poor return on that investment. So if you get your patients from PPO plans, I really believe you're using an antiquated strategy. There's a better place to get patients rather than from the PPO plan. The better place to get patients today is from Google. Where do people go to get information today?
Google.
They Google it.
Exactly.
So if you're relying on the plans to provide you patient, that's a sinking ship. That ship is going down. All the data suggests that.
Even the ones who are on
pivot.
plans, they're not going to the plans to find, choose a dentist. They're still going to Google.
Well, it used to be, Niren, that when a company hired a new employee, they provide them with an employee benefits booklet, a physical product.
Right.
And part of that booklet was a list of provider dentists that were part of their PPO plan. Today, they don't provide that book anymore. They simply provide a directory, electronic directory, and there'll be some instructions that say, hey, if you want to find a dentist that's a network, go to this directory. Well, most people don't do that. Instead, they go to Google and they start looking for certain qualities in a dentist. So I actually think the combination of fewer people having the benefits of dental insurance today, combined with a population that's ever more interested in their health, plays in our favor. There's another factor that goes into this, Niren, and that is we have an aging population where people are living much longer. And as a result of living longer, there's a longer period of time where people will be in their retirement years.
Yes.
And for most people that are retired, guess what? Most of those people don't have
dental insurance.
They don't have dental insurance. I believe it was my father's generation that was really the last generation. If I think back to, and my father was born in 1931. My late father was born in 1931. And it was really that generation that were provided lifetime benefits. And it turned out to be too expensive to provide lifetime benefits. So companies had to pivot and change. And now when someone retires, they have what's called COBRA, C-O-B-R-A as an acronym. And that means they'll get a period of benefits for a very short period of time, dental benefits. But after that, they have to purchase it on their own. And most people don't, because it doesn't make sense for an individual to purchase dental insurance benefits. So when you combine all these facts together, people are more interested in their health than ever. People are living longer, and it's been estimated. In past generations, Naren, the amount of time, if you look at the lifetime that someone would spend in their retirement years, it might have been at most 10% of their life, was spent in retirement years. And today, it's not unusual for that to represent a third of someone's life, and that number is growing. So a third of their life, they're in their retirement years. And these people want to live long, healthy, active lives. They want to keep their teeth. They want to have great oral health. And yet that period of time is typically not covered by dental insurance. So one of the ways that you can take advantage of this as a listener is create an in-office membership plan. If you've been listening to this podcast, you've heard me talk about in-office membership plans. But an in-office membership plan is a way to roll out the red carpet to people in your community who don't have dental insurance, which is a growing universe of people. Now, I've been rolling more statistics on as we've been talking. Let me roll one more on. Naren, there was a time not so long ago where virtually everyone worked within an organized job culture. They worked for a company, and they had a traditional job that was traditionally, if they were working full time, was 40 hours a week. However, today, there's a whole universe of people that are taking advantage of the gig economy, economy, and they are gig economy workers. Naren, you're a nerd. Give a definition of a gig economy worker.
Yeah, gig economy worker is somebody who can open an app, whatever that app is, Uber, for example, press a button saying, I'm ready to work, and then Uber sends them gigs. Hey, here's a ride here, here is a delivery there, and it matches kind of where they're located and what's going to make them the most money. And
so those could be Uber drivers, they could be Lyft drivers, they could be people that own a rental property through Airbnb, through VRBO. But there's also a lot of independent contractors that I think of as gig economy workers.
Exactly. Even eBay sellers, Amazon sellers,
Etsy shop owners. Even like people like, I know, like when we do, I can't remember the name of the site, but when we need some, handyman or somebody to do our gardening, we go to this app and we say, hey, we need something, and somebody shows up and they do it, and we pay them, and we don't even pay them because the app pays them. So it's perfect. Yeah. And those people are outside of the normal structure of employment.
Exactly.
They don't get benefits. They aren't provided benefits. They provide for themselves. And, COVID.
And this is a permanent trend, I think, this idea of like, people having these gigs and doing different things, it's only growing. I mean, if you look at
COVID accelerated that, Naren, and COVID accelerated that because people now realize they could work anywhere, they could live anywhere they wanted, and they could create employment opportunities from wherever they were, based on the resources and knowledge and skills that they had. And a lot of people are gravitating towards that lifestyle because it enhances their work-life balance.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have office hours, right? Today, I want to work at 11 a.m. I don't need to explain why I'm only starting at 11. Tomorrow, I don't want to work. I don't need to turn on the app. So,
there's even hygienists. This has been affecting the dental profession. There's a growing number of hygienists today that work rather than working for a placement agency. They use an app, and they wake up in the morning and decide whether they want to work or not. And they can respond and they can get assignments, and they can literally make that decision. And there are hygienists that appreciate that flexibility of deciding whether they want to work or not. And that's another variation of this trend.
Right.
But really, the takeaway for you is to realize that if you're thinking old school, if you're thinking that, well, the way to get patients is to be a participating provider in a plan where the insurance company provides me with patients. In my opinion, Naren, that's like riding a horse to work. Riding a horse to work. Now, one of my daughters is a horsey girl, and she has two wonderful horses, and I appreciate horses, but I'm not going to ride the horse to work.
Are you sure? I can visualize myself.
Yeah,
you on a horse.
I do enjoy riding horses, and I do enjoy horses. But if we look at transportation, that's not the way to make things work today. And I would say the same thing. If you are, counting on the insurance company to send you patients, and then as a result of that, you're paying a massive tax 45 to 50% of your usual fee, I want you to think of that adjustment, the difference between your usual fee and your contracted fee. I want you to think of that as a marketing expense. You're paying 45 to 50% of all the revenue that comes in from that patient as a marketing expense. There's much more effective ways to work, especially if you start thinking about the trends. If you start thinking about the fact that retirees don't have insurance, if you start thinking about the fact that people are more interested in their health, if we know that people are more interested in their health and they're seeking out offices that can help them keep their own natural teeth all their life and enjoy a healthy, attractive smile for their lifetime, then we can build a website that talks about how we can help people achieve those goals. And we can attract people that way. And I wanted to share this information with you because I think it can make a big difference about how you think about marketing and how you think about how do you attract the kind of patients that you really want in your practice. You know, the truth is you can get good patients from PPO plans. That's absolutely true. You can, whether it be Delta, United Concordia, United Healthcare, Aetna, Travelers, MetLife. But many of those patients arrive with baggage.
Yes.
And the baggage they arrive with is an insurance mindset that they only want to have this dental service done if it's covered by their insurance. Another way to say that a bit more cynically is they only want to have it done if it's free. And if they only want to have it done because it's free, is that really your best patient?
No.
Is that the patient that really appreciates what you can do for them? I would politely suggest no. And I would suggest there's other ways of attracting people that seek out what it is that make your office such a great place for them to visit. You know, one thing I know about our listeners of the Thriving Dentist Show is we have an exceptional group of listeners. I like to think that all of our listeners are providing an abundance of reasons for people to choose them as their dental providers. And as a result, you know, they're attracting more of their ideal patients. Well, I hope I've given you some things to think about in this episode. As I mentioned, there is new data that suggests that the number of people with dental insurance is declining. I believe that decline is going to come, you know, a runaway snowball rolling downhill, and we're going to see more and more of that. So rather than being dependent on the insurance companies sending you patients, let's be proactive about it and attract patients other ways. Attract them using a membership plan. Attract them by talking about the very cool reasons why they should be a patient in your practice. Attract them by using Google as a source of new patients rather than Delta as a source of new patients. Well, we've got some great questions coming up to continue this discussion. Let's hit pause on the coaching and action segment and get to the Thriving Dentist Q&A segment.
Welcome back to the Thriving Dentist Q&A segment. This is Naren. Gary, I have wonderful questions for you. You did an awesome episode today. New data suggests that the number of people with dental insurance is declining. And you went through like how this is not a bad news. It's actually a great news, especially for those, you know, listeners of this podcast who are thrivers. They are listening to the Thriving Dentist podcast. So you give tons of ideas around how to capitalize on this trend. You talked about how people are more interested in health, how the gig economy trend is increasing where people don't have benefits like, you know, paid for dental insurance from their employer. You talked about how, you know, if you're a practice owner, instead of having a commodity based, you know, I am another dentist practice where you are, you know, pedaling faster and faster because of the PPO write-offs, you can enjoy your practice and cater to these people who care about their health, give them the health they want, give them the smile they want. So I really enjoyed it, Gary. So we have some awesome questions from the listeners, and let me go through them. There are 4 questions. I'm going to start with the first one. I'm in an area with a number of large companies that all provide PPO plans. Do you think it's possible for me to drop PPO plans since many of my patients have PPO plans?
You know, that's a great question. And it reminds me of a course that I gave in San Jose, California. This was right before COVID. And I gave a course there to the local dental society. And it was an evening course, and it was about the 6 steps to successfully resign from PPO plans. The master class, it was an earlier version of what we now have as a master class.
Right.
And a doctor came up to me at the break and he said, Gary, I'm loving this information. I've been taking notes nonstop. And he said, I just wish I could apply more of this in my practice, but I'm really kind of concerned about how I can apply this, because we have all these huge employers right here. My practice is in Sunnyvale, and we have all these high-tech companies right here, and they all provide PPO plans. And I'm just not sure I can apply this. And I said, oh, okay. Well, doctor, I said, do you live in Sunnyvale? He said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I live in Sunnyvale, as well as, my practice is actually in a Sunnyvale address. And I said, let me ask you a question. Does everybody in Sunnyvale work for those big companies? And the big companies that he's naming, Naren, right?
Yes.
Can you name some of them?
Sunnyvale, Google,
Facebook, Google.
Facebook.
Name some more.
Tesla there as well. I know they're in California. They have a head office.
Anymore. They're gone.
No, I mean they do have some stuff in California, but not the head office.
These are all primarily this is the hardest
Silicon Valley company. Yeah. I mean,
name a couple more
Salesforce.
Yeah,
they are big.
Mostly tech companies, though.
Tech companies, yeah. There's hundreds of them. I mean,
HP, Hewlett Packard,
HP,
was there for years.
Yeah.
Apple, is
Apple,
there.
Yeah, Cupertino, that's true.
Yeah. So anyway, I asked him, I said, doctor, does everyone that lives in Sunnyvale work for those companies? He said, no. No. As a matter of fact, I can think of some people, many people that don't. And I was talking to him about having a membership plan. And we talked about the 3 groups of people that typically don't have insurance. And those would be retirees on one hand, millennials on the other age cycle, because millennials typically haven't reached a point in their career where they're accorded benefits. And then the third is the gig economy workers. So I asked him, I said, doctor, can you think of any retirees in your area? He goes, yeah, there's many in my neighborhood, many of them. And, many of them are friends of mine. So, okay. And then I said, how about millennials, the opposite end? Are there any are you aware of any millennials that live in and around Sunnyvale? And he had a good sense of humor there. And he said, yeah, they all live in the basements of the retirees. And I laughed and he laughed. And then I said, how about gig economy workers? He said, Gary, you know this as well as I do. This is the epicenter of gig economy workers. Of course, we have many of those. And then all of a sudden, his complete demeanor changed. And he said, wait a minute, I could do this here, couldn't I? And I said, instead of me answering your question, I'm going to ask you to answer it yourself. What do you think? He goes, I think I could. I think I could do this here. And so the point is, regardless of where you are, if you're in Seattle, Seattle is dominated by 4 large employers: Boeing Aircraft, Microsoft Computer and Software. Yeah. Third is Amazon. Amazon has a massive headquarters and distribution center in Seattle, and Starbucks. Now, does everybody in Seattle work for those 4 companies?
Everybody? No, Gary. I mean, I would say probably 20%, 30%.
Yeah, they
maximum.
Definitely have a large footprint.
Yeah.
But how about we go? I mean, how many patients does a practice need to be a thriving practice? How many patients does a practice need? And whatever that number is, can you find that number of people in your community?
I mean, let's take an example like Google, right? I mean, there are so many companies that serve Google who, like, in other words, the caterers, the event planners. There's so many businesses. So when we talk about a Google, it's not just the employees. It's like the 20,000 other people that support those employees. I mean, the restaurant owners,
and they're likely in your community.
Yeah, the bars, the clubs, they all like exist around it, right? So I think, what is the stat that for every job that's created, like a high-tech job, there's like 10 other jobs that are created, because all these people have to support these people.
And the economists talk about the way that money circulates in the economy.
Exactly.
And so my answer to that question, the question is, is it possible? Do I think it's possible to drop PPO plans since so many of my patients have a PPO plan? The answer is yes. The other thing, and every time I explain this to a client, it becomes very evident. If you're getting patients from the plans, then that tends to be a self-generating occurrence. You tend to get more people from the plans. And if you're being affected by 45 to 50% discount, you likely don't have a budget to do any other marketing activity. So you become more dependent, which is exactly what the PPO plans want you to do. If we start attracting people from other ways, like through Google, for example, it becomes a whole different universe.
Right.
So yes, and I can say that confidently because we've helped, as a coach, I've helped clients in places like Sunnyvale, in places like Seattle, where there's a rather big footprint from some dominant employers who provide PPO plans. So yes, you can.
Thank you, Gary. I love that question and the answer. Let me ask you the second question I have for you. During the coaching in action segment, you shared an interesting fact. Half the adults in the US have dental insurance. The other half do not have dental insurance. And the fact you shared is that both the half that have dental insurance and the other half that do not have dental insurance still use Google to find a dentist. Because nobody wants to go to the inferior dentist. We all want a really good dentist. So the question is this: what can I do to capitalize on this fact?
Well, really, I can explain that in a sentence. You want to replace Delta. I'm using Delta just for example. You could sub any PPO plan that you like in its place. MetLife, United Concordia, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, any of those. It's to replace Delta with Google as your source of new patients, because that's what people are doing anyway. You might as well learn how to show up on page one when someone is in your community is looking for a dentist, because that's what people are doing. And that's how you want to get on page one. What do we do when we want to learn anything? We go to Google. We Google it. I had an example of this just myself recently. I was interested in purchasing some new running shorts. And there's a lot of new technology, when it comes to running shorts. And I looked up the highest quality running shorts. And I looked it up on Google, and here comes the answers. And then I used that list to do my own research.
Right.
And then I ordered them. But yeah, that's what you do. And what you want to do is you want to master organic search engine optimization. Or mastering organic search engine optimization means that you are likely showing up on page one when a person in your community is looking for a dentist. People don't go past page one because they don't need to, on Google. They don't have to go past page one. And the best way to do that, I would encourage you to do what we did at Life Smiles, and what I recommend to my clients is they use your agency, Naren, Equa, as a source of search engine optimization, mastering search engine optimization, so you show up on page one. I know you've been kind enough to offer any of our listeners the opportunity to schedule a marketing strategy meeting with Lila Stone, your director of marketing. If any of you listeners are interested in that, go to www.equa.com /MSM, marketing strategy meeting. And Lila will share with you some things you can do to master organic search engine optimization. And the byproduct of that will be you'll be replacing the PPO plans as a source of new patients with Google as a source of new patients, which is a much better way to attract the type of patients that you're actually looking for.
Thank you, Gary. Next one is also a marketing question, but a different question. I guess this particular doctor is thinking of the half that do not have insurance, or the half, or even within the ones who have insurance, they have really bad insurance. So his question is: have you seen any success marketing an in-office membership plan to small businesses?
Absolutely, we have. What's interesting is we have a more competitive labor environment than we've ever had. Naren, I don't know if this is true in Mississauga, but in Scottsdale, there is hardly any business that doesn't have a help wanted sign.
True.
In their brick and mortar business, where they're looking for staff, they're looking for employees. Is that true in Mississauga?
That is very true. It's a really tight labor market.
It's a very tight labor market.
Yeah.
And one of the things that companies are recognizing, especially small companies, is what if I provided benefits as a means of attracting and keeping the best employees? And really, your membership plan is a much better deal for the employer to offer to their employees, and it's a much better benefits plan for the employee than a traditional PPO plan. So yes, we have seen results. And one of the best ways to start with that is grassroots, Naren. And that's that, if you're a relationship-driven practice, which you've all heard me talk about the value of a relationship-driven practice. Doctor, if you have a relationship-driven practice, I'm going to challenge you right now. I want you to think about patients in your practice who own their own business, who own their own business. Maybe it's a small business, maybe it's a medium-sized business. And you might need to go into your records and take a look and refresh your memory. But let's start talking to them about it. Maybe you have a patient that owns a restaurant that you support. And the patient's name is George. The next time George comes in for an appointment, say, George, I sure love supporting your restaurant. I enjoy seeing you when I come in, and I enjoy telling all my friends about your restaurant because I know how hard it is to make it today in the restaurant business. If you've ever considered offering benefits to your employees, we offer an in-office membership plan that might be a good way for you to attract and keep quality new staff. If you'd like, I'd be happy to sit down with you and share with you how that might be a benefit to your restaurant. And now I'm going to ask you to start grassroots. Start with the people in your practice that own businesses. Start a conversation with them and share with them your membership plan. Some other things we found is Facebook ads can be effective marketing your membership plan. A simple ad that says, no dental insurance, no problem. Ask us about and put in the name of your membership plan. If someone clicks on that, it'll go to your landing page that talks about your membership plan. Also, a similar ad that's on LinkedIn. If you think about the people that are on LinkedIn, there are basically two types of people that are on the social media channel LinkedIn. Executives that are between jobs. They're looking for their next job. And by the way, if they're looking for the next job, what don't they have, Naren?
They do not have dental insurance.
They don't have dental insurance. And then also employers that are looking for those executives. So in the same way, you could attract an ad to the employers to take a look at your membership plan rather than a traditional dental insurance plan. So it could be a way to get, a onesie twosie patients, coming one at a time. But it can also be a way to share your message with employers in your community that want to be on the leading edge of offering benefits that allow them to attract and keep the best employees. So those are three different things you can do as a way of marketing your in-office membership plan to businesses and to individuals. A great way to grow your practice for sure.
And this is the last question. I have attended your masterclass, the 6 steps to successfully reduce insurance dependence. I know there's one coming up on July 27th. So if you haven't attended, I would recommend you attend it. The question is this: which of the 6 steps do you think is most important?
Well, first of all, Doctor, thank you for attending the masterclass. I hope you're putting that information into action, and I would love to hear how it's enhancing your practice. Well, I kind of feel like each one of those steps is most important. It's kind of like asking me to choose a favorite child. They're all my favorites. But I am going to answer your question because you asked it. Of those 6 steps, so let me walk through the 6 steps. Number 1, know your data. Number 2, master digital marketing to replace any people you might lose. Step 3, develop an in-office membership plan to attract people in your community who don't have insurance. Step 4, get your team 100% behind and trained on how to communicate with your patients about what you're doing. Step 5, elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice. And step 6 is consider adding high-value services. One thing about adding high-value services is that people will often pay for what they want before they'll pay for what they need. And it can be a good way to insulate yourself from insurance thinking. Of those 6 steps, I happen to think that step number 5 is most important. And that is elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice. The more relationship driven you are, the less likely a patient is to leave if you choose to no longer be contracted with their PPO plan, because they don't want to go anywhere else. They appreciate the way you take care of them. They appreciate the way you know them. They know, like, and trust you, and they don't want to go anywhere else. Right behind step 5, I would put step 2, master digital marketing, because you have to replace any people you might lose when you go out of network. And you also have to replace the historic flow of new patients that has come in from those PPO plans. So that's where I would say is most important. Step 5, elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice, followed very closely by step number 2. However, each one of them, has a place in successfully resigning from PPO plans. Well, Naren, as we come to the finish line today, I want to thank you for co-hosting this podcast, and also want to thank you and your team members at Equa for all that you do to help dentists attract quality new patients, not only the number of new patients that they need, but the quality of those new patients as well. Also want to thank our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. As a listener, if you haven't done so already, I have a request. If you would be kind enough to click the subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts, click subscribe. That means every Wednesday when we upload a new episode, it'll be automatically uploaded to your listening device for your convenience, and you'll never miss a future episode. On that note, let me simply thank you for the privilege of your time today and tell you that Naren and I will look forward to connecting with you on the next Thriving Dentist Show.